If you're looking to experience the great outdoors, a place for family fun, or just a weekend getaway, make your destination Texas. A special presentation from BigCountryHomepage.com.
COVID-19 has forced hundreds to cancel summer vacation plans as out-of-state travel becomes with more concerns. But that doesn't mean you can't do something fun right here in the Lone Star State. So from the stories right here in West Texas to the southern coast, we're taking you on a tour of this great state featuring vacation getaways that you can go right now. And we start first not far from the Key City in Palo Pinto County, where dozens are hitting the lake in an attempt to escape some of that Texas summer heat.
Today, we're down in Palo Pinto County checking out Possum Kingdom State Park, located just roughly 90 miles south of Wichita Falls. Now, construction first began on the Morris Shepherd Dam back in 1939, which now controls flooding in the Brazos River, and after the lake filled up, hundreds of people flocked to PK to see what it was all about.
It was a way after the Depression to kind of put people back to work.
And after the Civilian Conservation Corporation left in 1941, the state park was handed over to the State Park Board, who then opened it in the 1950s, offering activities like swimming holes, campsites, and wonderful trails that take lake goers to beautiful, breathtaking locations that overlook the park.
This trail will take you up to the top of this cliff behind us. You get really good views of the park, of the lake. It's a pretty nice trail.
And the trails have been used so much, there's become a demand for expansion and additions to the trails.
We are looking at maybe adding some more trails to our park, and we want to add multi-use trails, so for mountain biking, hiking.
But the state park isn't all that Possum Kingdom Lake has to offer. Like one of the hot spots of the lake, Hell's Gate, that has recently, over the past few years, become the home to the Red Bull Cliff Diving Championship. But for a few months back in 2011, Possum Kingdom was a dark and dreary place after a fire ravaged through 90% of the state park and other areas of the lake, destroying 166 homes. But State Park Superintendent David Fisher says they have built back stronger and better than before.
It's a slow process. But every year we're getting a little bit closer to bringing this area back to its original state.
But don't let that stop you from loading up your family and heading to Possum Kingdom to check out the beautiful 100-foot cliffs, countless water activities like boating, jet skiing, and scuba diving, or just tossing a line out on the water while you relax. At Possum Kingdom Lake, I'm Curtis Jackson for Destination Texas.
Heading now a little closer to Midland, where hundreds are taking in the great outdoors at Big Bend National Park, filled with 800,000 acres of wonder and wildlife, giving attendees a chance to hit the trails. You can catch a glimpse also of its wildlife or admire the night sky. The park first opened in the 1930s, but it wasn't until 10 years later that it earned its National Park designation.
It took about 7 years to get this area established as a national park, and it became so essentially on the day of D-Day in 1944.
People come from around the world to see the natural wonders of the park, with hundreds of hiking and biking trails. But just one piece of advice from park rangers is to bring plenty of water. And from the trails in Big Bend to those on the ancient mountains carved by horse hoofs, the Lajitas golf course near the border has become a world of its own. Chase Menendez shows us it all, from the trails to the links.
Trails on ancient mountains carved by horse hooves next to an oasis of a golf course. Near the border, 236 miles southwest of Midland, Lajitas Golf Resort is its own world.
It is just, the scenery is unparalleled.
And they said it's in the mountains of West Texas. I did not know Texas had mountains, but there they are.
While people come from all around the world for the golf course, the resort is much more than that.
You're pretty much free to do things, you know. You can go up in the mountains, you can go skeet shooting, you can go military combat shooting. I mean, you can go on a zip line, you can go paddleboard on the Rio Grande. How many people can say that?
There's like endless activities out here, and there's so many nature trails. Like, that's Big Bend right there. That mountain is Big Bend National Park.
But the golf course itself is especially unique for many reasons.
I would say the topography is very unique for Texas golf. One of our back tee on 15, you actually look to the north into Mexico. which is one of the few spots in the U.S. where you can say that.
Everyone comes out here to golf on the most beautiful golf course I've ever seen.
While the Lajitas Resort will have all of the fun and amenities you'll need, it's a quick getaway to a rugged but beautiful landscape.
Just this beautiful scenery never gets old. I didn't know Texas had this many hills. It's like mountains out here.
Just a completely unique experience from anywhere else.
Because this is like an oasis, adventure, fun outdoors. It's a little hot, but I'll take that over cold any day.
In Lajitas for Destination Texas, I'm Chase Menendez.
And coming up on Destination Texas, they say everything is bigger in Texas, and that includes the food. After the break, feast your eyes on this 72-ounce steak and where you can get your hands on one. Welcome back. 7 years ago, a relatively unknown couple from Waco appeared on television screens across the country, and a new phenomenon was born. Now Chip and Joanna Gaines have helped reinvent Waco's downtown scene, and now we're getting a first-hand look.
When you think about Waco, you can't help but think about the silos.
That's right, and we're talking all things Magnolia right now. You can get a cupcake, you can find something for your home, you can get a great cup of coffee. Everything that formulated in Chip and Joanna's brain is right here for you to explore.
There you go, and also you can look for that one-of-a-kind antique you've always wanted as well, but if that's not enough, Amanda, just 2 blocks away from here is even more entertaining.
Let's go.
Blocks away from the silos is the very cool downtown Waco. Now we're in front of the Waco Hippodrome, which is super cool, and they always have live music.
I love that. You can also check out a lot of the shops. You can grab a glass of wine, a bite to eat, even stay downtown in the very cool loft apartments.
Absolutely, and just walk the sidewalks and have some fun. There's always something to do in downtown Waco. So what do we say we go grab a beer?
Absolutely, I think you're buying.
I think that's a good plan. Hey, we'll see you next time on Destination Texas.
Bye, guys.
We head now to Amarillo, where a restaurant there is staying true to the saying that everything is bigger in Texas. And if you're driving through the Panhandle, this one-of-a-kind is hard to miss, living up to its name, the Big Texan.
You come through the Texas Panhandle, we ride horses to work, we all eat big steaks, and we all have ranches.
Bobby Lee is a second-generation owner of the Big Texan, a steakhouse and brewery that sits right off I-40.
We're seeing second and third and fourth generations of family come through. We're seeing grandparents bring their grandkids in with them. For 60 years of being open, we have a responsibility to the traveling public.
And over those years, Bobby has expanded the Big Texan into something even bigger.
You got your accommodations with the Big Texan Hotel, and it's an old Western style hotel, and it has a Texas-shaped swimming pool. We have a shooting gallery for the kids, we have a full bar, and we have the world's best beer because we brew it here at the Big Texan.
And you can't come to the Big Texan without trying their big 72-ounce steak. The world-famous dish has attracted people from all over.
I'm from California. We searched it up how many it is, and it's a big thing that you have to eat.
Whoever can eat this dinner can get it for free at the Big Texan, and 60 years later, it's still the Mickey Mouse of the Big Texan.
And while California has Disneyland, Texas has, well, the Big Texan.
And yes, everything is bigger in Texas.
At the Big Texan, I'm Sharday LeRae for Destination Texas.
I'm already getting hungry just watching that. Well, a dinner for a family of 4 will cost you around $100. And from the steaks to plants, rocks, and antiques, what better place to get any of those than in a town named after a popular desert plant? Sonora Scott shows us Cactus Town and what it has to offer to travelers.
If you're a sucker for succulents, well, this trip is for you, because just outside of the city of San Angelo is Cactus Town. This town is run by its creator, who of course goes by
Cactus Mike.
He first got the idea for Cactus Town about 15 years ago, then officially opened it in 2012. He says it's still a work in progress, and he's in the process of building a stage for performers, a series of buildings that will take you back to the Wild West, a wedding venue, a bed and breakfast, and an RV park. You may be saying, that's a lot. But Cactus Mike says it's only the beginning for his visitors from across the globe.
It's just amazing to see the people that come here from all over the state, all over the world this year. We've had Brazilian visitors, Vietnamese visitors, people coming from just 6 hours, 8-hour drives to spend a couple hours here and buy plants and rocks and antiques. So that is what I dreamed of.
For Cactus Mike, Cactus Town is more than just plants, rocks, and antiques. It's a place for curiosity and creativity.
One of the biggest things is to let their wonders fly, let their imagination go, and because we're supposed to dream and we're supposed to create. And so I think if somebody gets a spark of inspiration from what they see here, that's really what I like for them to take away.
If all that inspiration makes you hungry, head down the road 8 miles to Miles, Texas. Frozen in Time is an antique store, pizza parlor, and frozen yogurt shop all in one. You can build your own pizza or select from their menu, then fill up on froyo while shopping for furniture and decor. This road trip is sure to pique the curiosity of visitors of all ages. In Miles and Cactus Town, I'm Sonora Scott for Destination Texas.
And coming up on Destination Texas, we're flipping through the pages of our own history right here in the Key City and how we became the storybook capital of America. Well, welcome back. Whether you've driven past them or stopped to snap a picture, chances are if you live in the Key City, for most of the time you've definitely come across at least one of the storybook sculptures. And while a new one pops up each year, few people know about how they're molded together. I got the chance to meet up with some of the artists who are taking the characters off the page. Between teaching and his own projects, most of Jeff Broderick's hours end up being spent right here.
Except when I'm vacationing most of every day.
In his studio at ACU.
And it aerates so that I can get it down in there.
Turning clay sculptures into casted metal.
I was taking sculpture because it was required, but when I saw the molten metal, it was like, oh yeah, I've got to do more of that. Had to go in and reinforce the underneath side.
And while some artists never see their work again after it makes its way out the doors, Broderick's happens to be right in our backyard.
Seymour, the one on the corner of the Chamber of Commerce building, they approached me to do that.
The Abilene Cultural Affairs Council giving Broderick his own part in the storybook sculpture collection.
That just seemed to open a door.
Putting his name next to another Abilene artist.
I did, I believe, 5 that first year.
Steve Neves.
I've been busy ever since.
The two working together to do both the sculpting and the casting to create what we see today.
My main goal is to try and stay as true to the original illustration as possible. Instead of trying to make that spheres out of clay, I just got some old Christmas ornaments and glued them down. It's a lot of sanding and construction and engineering, and so when I finish it, it does come with a sense of accomplishment.
Between the two of them, it has been really great not only to have these sculptures created, but to be able to support some of our local artists.
And whether they avoid the area,
I don't usually get too close unless I get brave.
Or drive by it every day.
I see people, kids and families out looking at this stuff, it makes me feel pretty good.
Both artists say once they finish a project, they're already ready for the next. Steve Neves is set to debut his latest sculpture at next year's CAF. And keeping in the Key City, located downtown is the National Center for Children's Illustrated Literature, which is still open to the public during the COVID-19 pandemic. I got the chance to look through their newest exhibit that's taking a look back. You've driven by the signs and seen the sculptures. But if we flip back to the first page of this book,
a lot of people say, why is the National Center in Abilene, Texas?
We'll find out the title Storybook Capital of America.
Why isn't it in New York City or Washington, D.C.?
Starts right behind these doors.
The mayor at the time, Dr. Gary McCaleb, read a book to a local classroom called Santa Calls.
And its backdrop, the Key City.
Gary asked Bill one day, this art is stunning, where is it? And Bill was like, well, I think it's under my bed. And at that time, there was absolutely no entity that took this art and really celebrated illustrated it.
Now, more than 20 years later, one original illustration has turned into hundreds that fill this once empty canvas.
We're a museum for anyone and everyone.
And the eyes behind the frame,
what I get to do is pick the art that goes into the exhibit,
belong to Debbie Lillick, who has been pretty busy despite the COVID-19 shutdown.
He thought he probably quit after this because this was so tedious to paint all these little tiny things.
An exhibition normally is at least 2 years worth of planning. Because of COVID-19, this exhibition we planned in less than 4 weeks.
And the theme, Encore.
There is a piece of art from every one of the last summer artists that we did the CAF around.
Taking a look back not just through your childhood memories.
Who doesn't get a copy of Oh, the Places You'll Go when you graduate from high school or college?
But through Abilene's history.
They took an actual book and turned it into a storyland.
The Nickel opens at noon Tuesday through Friday, and we still have so much more to explore during this segment of Destination Texas. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back to Destination Texas, where we're heading west to El Paso, where Shelby Cap is climbing its mountains to give us a look at the treasure that lies inside.
Like other mines that you might be familiar with.
While walking through Franklin Mountain State Park, you might come across a small opening on the west side of the Desert Mountain Range. It leads to a time centuries ago.
In the copper mine, what you see is it's a very primitive mine operation that probably started at one point very early in time, maybe in the 1700s. And then as you progress into the mine, they start using dynamite to blast the rock and get into the mineral.
Upon entering the copper mine, the temperature is much cooler. As you make your way through, you'll come upon a small bridge. Once inside the mine, if you continue to walk, you will start to see a green color on the side of the rock. Now that is a sign that there is copper in this mine.
The colors are really attractive because then you see how the mountains are from the inside. You see the different colors like blues and greens and yellows on the mineral forming.
You can go back in time through the copper mines, guided by state park tour guides, but you can access another little known mine on the northeast side of the mountain on your own.
In the tin mines, what you'll see is the big operation that they developed in the early 1900s. You'll see the foundations of the old building where they process the mineral.
The hike to see the tin mines takes an hour, while the copper mines is only about a 15-minute hike. Franklin Mountain State Park officials suggest visiting the state park's website for maps and for tours of the two mines.
And coming up on Destination Texas, we finish out our tour right where most of us want to spend our summer, by the water. We'll take a look at all the adventures to experience on South Padre Island when we return. Welcome back. Today we're finishing out our tour of Texas at South Padre Island, where our Jeremiah Wilcox takes us to the island where one man's love for water shines as bright as the sun.
Brandon Scholl starts every day heading to the Gulf of Mexico.
I do a wide range of things, from bay fishing, deep sea fishing, snorkeling tours, dolphin tours, sunset tours are beautiful. I mean, the sunsets here in this area are just absolutely gorgeous.
It's a job he wouldn't trade for the world.
I got the dolphins as my office.
South Padre Island is home to a vast array of aquatic species, from sea turtles to playful dolphins. The show's goal to spark a connection to the water with each customer.
They understand us, you know, when you're talking to them and you tell them you love them, you know, they're sitting there looking at you, you can feel the love. It's wonderful.
The main attraction is more than 200 dolphins swimming in the waters throughout the day.
Wide range personalities out here. I mean, it's unbelievable. And when you're out there, you know, we get them so close to the boat. You connect eye to eye with these dolphins. You know, they're just like us. They sometimes they want to be playful, sometimes they want to be left alone.
And there's only one way to get their attention.
Come closer, we love you!
All year round, you can see the aquatic mammals play in the ocean, a unique feature here in the valley.
I don't recommend seeing them in captivity, anything like that, because then they're wild. You see their true, their characteristics, how they love to be, their families, their pods. It's just, it is by far the best way of seeing a dolphin.
In South Padre Island, I'm Jeremiah Wilcox for Destination Texas.
And boat rides are available for that every day. And that just about does it here for us on Destination Texas. And whether you decide to take a trip down south or stay right here in the Key City, we hope you all have a wonderful summer spent with family and friends. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.